Jason Gray paved the way, changed the rate, released the pain, least you sane, getting paid, trend setting, brighter days, doper rap, tighter set, high and deadly, I'm a fighter jet, Jeremy.
What's good, everyone? Major League Pod. 2 weeks, we are back covering everything that we need to know about in MLW, specifically going to talk about the Burning Crush. I'm Rob Camber, host of the MLW Confusion podcast, and big in Belgium for some odd reason. With me, as always, is the Nephilim of the National Wrestling Alliance, Muffins Martinez. How are you doing today, Muffins?
Hey, man. It's the third week in February, and spring training baseball is about to start. So I am happy as hell, brother. I am happy.
You know, one season falls and the next one rises. We just had the Super Bowl. Now it's time to get ready for baseball.
Yes.
Another ball I don't really watch, but whatever. People are excited.
Come
so
on,
we're
man.
good.
You kidding?
I own a St. Louis Cardinals t-shirt. I quasi pay attention. I used to go to minor league games when I was younger before I got married.
You still got to go, bro. Okay, hey, baseball is America's pastime.
There we go. But, as I said, so we could talk baseball, except I wouldn't know what I was talking about. Though we could argue I don't know what I'm talking about when we talk wrestling either. But MLW Burning Crush was this past weekend. The second of the big YouTube beIN Sports shows. A lot of stuff going on, comparatively speaking, for this one. We'll probably talk about, give it our overall review at the end, but definitely felt this one flowed a lot better than Reload did last month. So let's jump into it, I guess. They started out really hot with an Alex Kane promo where it looked like he was going to step away for a bit, whether a step away from MLW or just wrestling in general, looking towards his future, what he's supposed to do next. Mr. Thomas did talk him out of that. Now, where we're looking at day one is H. However, the real news to come out of this is the impending debut and the interruption of said promo from the former Flop Dollar, AJ Francis.
Yes.
He's set his sights on Alex Kane, and evidently he has aligned himself with WTF. What do you think about this move, Muffins?
Man, AJ Francis came out of nowhere. I remember. I mean, he was totally with the hit row there for a while. Then he got released, and then 3 months passed by, and he just popped out of nowhere in like the middle or end of December, and now that dude's everywhere. Impact Wrestling, he's there. He's everywhere in the Indies, and now he popped out here in MLW out of nowhere, challenging our champion there, or ex-champion Kane. I mean, this is another Matt Cardona move. Hopefully comes in for a couple of months. Has a couple of matches. Elevates Kane. Brings some eyes to MLW. But I'm definitely looking forward to whenever this match is going to happen. I don't think it's happening anything in February, right? I don't believe.
I don't think so. If it is, the earliest is probably going to be at whatever the February YouTube show is, because I know at Intimidation Games, Kane has got Bobby Fish.
Okay, so hopefully he might show up there and start something with Kane for the first, the first show in March will be whatever they call it for the YouTube show being sports. So, or they'll wait till the end of March for the show in Florida and do something there. So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm definitely looking forward to this.
See, this is mad to me. I personally don't have much use for AJ Francis. I don't see the hype in him personally. But I will say this: I may not be high on him, but he is a completely inoffensive hire. He doesn't do anything for me, but he also doesn't make me want. He doesn't make me angry. He doesn't make me want to say screw this and leave. Like, he's just okay, cool. I just get kind of annoyed because he has an overinflated self-worth, and sometimes I can't tell whether that's the character or that's him, and I do believe it's probably a little bit of both put together, because during his promo he had a checklist of things, and I'm like, well, that's objectively not true. That's objectively not true.
Well, it's
but he's a heel too.
It's another ex-WWE person.
Yeah.
You know, that got claim to fame working in WWE. It's like Mustafa Ali, just like the old Dolph Ziggler, people like that.
But again, if he's healing it up and being part of the WTF, it fits. So,
so it's another ex-WWE guy that where people are interested in, and now he's taking advantage of the fame that he got, his 15 minutes of fame, and he's gonna try to hit every independent company there is and make that money. So.
Oh yeah, gotta respect the hustle.
Yeah.
My big question is overall, like I assume like his feud with Kane will be serviceable, but again, he's allied himself with the World Titan Federation.
Already,
how do you think he fits into that specifically?
I don't know. It's just weird that everybody that comes in now becomes a member of the WTF, like out of just like that. Like they could have waited to do it right on the actual show. It would have been more serviceable to me. Like I was like, oh shit, he aligned himself with that moron, Saint Laurent. But you know, it's just sometimes it just makes no sense that everybody that comes in is automatically a WTF guy.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if he fits the styling of a WTF kind of like a guy either, because a lot of the WTF guys work very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah,
for the most part, like Tom Lawler is willing to do a whole bunch of stupid stuff, you know, to forward it. Matt Cardona obviously gave it his everything. You know, Josh Bishop, in what little like mic time they've given him, has shown that he's willing to goof it up too. We haven't seen a whole lot of Bulldog in it, but
and I'm surprised we didn't see Bishop in this show.
Yeah. Like we didn't get much of that either. So like to me, so like for me, like I don't know, like Francis doesn't come off as goofy enough to go along with the WTF folk to begin with. Chef didn't get to hop in on this, but like he is very pro Francis, and I agree with him in that he either he should just come in and be like the star that he acts like he is. You know, all eyes on him, or B, come up with a group of his own, because Lord knows there's enough indie talent that you can bring in for a handful of months, especially if he's going to take shots at Bomaye specifically.
Yeah, maybe that will happen. Maybe it's just a ruse to come in with WTF and start dismantling them from the inside. Who knows?
Yeah. We will see. As I said, this is his first appearance. We will. Who knows how long he's going to be here? We will see. Hopefully, he'll have a better win-loss record than the rest of his stablemates.
Yeah,
because
that's horrible. Yeah,
that's kind of abysmal. But speaking of win-loss records, got our first match of the evening. Wasted Youth, who's been on fire. Except this is not our Dylan McKay, Marcus Mathers duo. It's actually Austin Luke and Marcus Mathers this time around, teaming up with.
Hold up. What happened to the other guy?
I'm not sure. I thought it was going to be McKay and Mathers because they've been the standard duo.
Yeah.
But
I never noticed. I thought it was the same two guys.
No. This time it was Austin Luke, and they actually put it over on commentary when they were coming to the ring that they noted that Austin Luke and Mathers had been opponents in MLW previously because they were part of that triple threat match. But tonight they're working together, and you know, get the hat out. Austin Luke has been a peripheral member of Wasted Youth in the past. He's just not been a main part of like that tag team as well. Okay. There's a fourth individual as well whose name escapes me because they're half a blind spot in my wrestling existence. Like I'm only really familiar with them as the tag team of McKay and Mathers, or Mathers flying solo. But yeah, Luke does have history with them, a positive history. They didn't just slap rivals together and call it good.
Wow, okay. There's something new every day. I thought it was the same two guys. I didn't know there was a difference.
You didn't even notice that their tights were different? They usually color coordinate.
Yes, the clothes were different, yes. But I could have sworn it was the same two guys. I didn't know it was a different guy. I was like, oh shit, now I got to go back and watch it again just to see.
But yeah, I mean, they worked well together. Obviously, they've worked in the past, so there's some there's some cohesion there, and they end up teaming up with Nolo Kitano, who also has history with our ne'er-do-well faction, which they really need a name at this point. Tony Deppen, Griffin McCoy, and the Silver Sniper TJ Crawford.
Yes.
What did you think of this match?
Dude, when I see those guys, the youth movement, and I see Wasted Youth, we finally got to see Kitano, and then the three other guys that you mentioned, they definitely need a name because they are stable.
Yeah.
When I see stuff like this, I get excited because it's the beginning of the show. They're going to give you all that energy. They're going to get you all hyped up. And it's a car crash, and I love car crashes in the ring. You see everybody flying by. You get that spot where everybody does their maneuvers, their finishing maneuvers, back and forth. I thought, again, the good guys were going to win, and out of nowhere, the heels get the win. Hey, I'm thinking to myself, how the hell does Wasted Youth keep winning their tag team matches? They're supposed to be the #1 contenders, but WTF is getting the tag team title coming up in intimidation games. Like, when are these guys going to get their shot at a title? I
gotta say, touching base on that one, I bring that up too, is that they officially won a #1 contendership match like a couple of months ago.
They've been winning ever
since. But somehow, WTF has gotten one shot for sure, and allegedly maybe getting another shot here in the future due to some wranglings. And then Cozy Max has kind of jumped in line as well, at least unofficially.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, or Manders and Matthew Justice have basically laid down a gauntlet of anywhere, anytime, Cozy Max, because you guys are cool. Let's do it.
But you love bread like we do.
Yeah. Well, beer is liquid bread, so it makes sense. But yeah, I think that's interesting. Is Wasted Youth in 2-on-2 action is still undefeated, and by winning a match with that stipulation, they are the #1 contenders for the tag team championship, and we've gotten no follow up on it.
3 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, and then too, no offense intended to any of the competitors of this match. They work very well together. This match was very entertaining. I agree with your sentiment that this was a very fun match. And knowing all the characters in this match, that you knew that was going to be the case. But I would like to I would either like to see them have a blow off match, officially, or just them go their separate ways. Yeah. Because we basically had 2 events in a row, or at least 2 months in a row, where we've had Wasted Youth plus partner taking on Deppen, McCoy, and Crawford. And if we're not going to get a blow off, I think I would like to see them just kind of split off and see Wasted Youth.
Right now it's 1-on-1 right now.
Yeah, But yeah, the match itself was great, and everything else is just me, just complaining for the sake of complaining.
Well, right now it's 1-on-1, so I'm guessing they'll get the blow off match at the Intimidation Games,
or that
tapings.
Yeah.
For the next.
Then the real question, though, the real question will be off that is who will be the third man, because each time they've had a different person.
Maybe they'll bring the other guy from Wasted Youth. And
there you go. Have a full proper Wasted Youth.
Yeah, they'll have the Wasted Youth 3 members out of 4 against those guys again. I mean, I would love to see that, not knowing that there was a different guy this time. So, hey, surprise me again. Hey, look at this, 3 guys now.
They all look the same. It's fine.
That was the point, because they all look the same. So I figured, okay, look at the 2 same guys. Never noticed. I mean, like I said, they looked like a mix between the Hardy Boys and either Public Enemy because of the hair, or even the Nasty Boys. So
I'll go with it. But yeah, it's a good match. Also, good match and multi-person match. Our next match was the featherweight exhibition, basically featuring the entire division, as they put over in promos after the fact. But the Notorious Mimi taking on the Federette Zeta, taking on Delmi Exo, taking on Tiara James.
Yes.
And I thought this match was better than I thought it was going to be. Considering how green most of the competitors were.
Yes.
I didn't have the most. I expected it to be all right, but it definitely was better than all right. It was a very good, solid match. with Zeta pulling out the surprise win. But for me, the real surprise is that one, she didn't come out with Saint Laurent, and two, she come out with Becca's boyfriend, Brett Ryan Goslin. And I know they're
boyfriend now.
Yeah, and like I mean, I knew they were BFFs, but like, what? Like, but you know, whatever. But yeah, so and Salina de la Renta came out for commentary, so she was a factor in everything too, because her and specifically Delmy have had spats, and now of course with Zeta wanting a shot at Janai Kai, you know, her and Saint Laurent are getting into it as well. My one complaint, and this isn't even about the match, is Salina was, I felt, way too vicious in her attacks on the division. I am a big proponent, like she put down everybody way too much, I felt, to like the detriment of the division, and mostly because, and I feel this way mostly because I am a big proponent, get the words out, Rob, of putting your opponents over, because you want to beat the best, because if you beat the best, you are better than the best. If you beat garbage, you beat garbage and you don't look better for it. And Salina really kind of like tried to like basically flat out call everybody in that ring garbage. And right now that's the entirety of the featherweight division.
Yeah.
And I get it. She's a heel, but
there's gotta be a point where you gotta do what you're supposed to do, but not bury the whole division. I mean, another match that I loved, four-way females. Whenever I see females wrestling in the show, I get excited because they get time. This match, they got time.
Yeah,
they were there doing their shit. I was very surprised in a good way with Notorious Mimi. She looked really good. Tierra James looked really, really good. I think Expo spent too much time with De La Renta, whatever the hell is going on with them too. She like kind of focused more on that than on the match. And of course, Seda looks good, and like you said, she picked up the win. It definitely showed that she's gonna get that momentum and get that title match. I don't think at the Intimidation, but maybe at the following taping. But all four females did their stuff. Everybody looked good. Tierra James looked good. Mimi looked good. Sierra looked good. Now, unfortunately, this looks to us like Becca may no longer be her MLW the way that now Ryan Gossett has been now teamed with Seda, which actually they look good together too.
Oh, they fit. They fit personality-wise. So I don't have a problem with it, but I would have liked a little bit more of a little bit more backstory to get why like they went shopping once and now they're coming out to the ring together, and
now they're the Barbie and Ken of MLW now,
but BRG's still feuding with Love Dog, which now makes less sense if he's not going to be associated with Becca anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's for later.
And then whatever happened afterwards, after Seda won, we get Salina de la Renta on the microphone, and she goes off on all of those guys there, and I'm like, what the hell's going on now? So that was a little interesting, building into something in the future. Saint Laurent comes out and all hell breaks loose after that.
Yeah.
So
I
think it was too much. Like, I would have loved the match to finish and then go to something else. The match finished. The Renta got on the mic. Here comes Saint Laurent, and then and whatever happened after that happened, I'm like, oh, good Lord, man. Like, this is like too much.
Yeah. Again, like we had a good match, and then I felt like basically Salina just then kind of pooped all over it, which is not the case. Like, actually, like this is probably one of the better booked multi-women matches they've had in MLW in a while, and because they had ample time and everybody got a shine. So like, yes, Zeta went over, but everybody got some moments in there, and and they even had a good explanation why the most experienced and arguably the best competitor in the form of Delmy didn't get the victory because she's spent too much time dealing with Salina. Yeah,
but that's what I appreciate about this match. They had time. I want to say it definitely went over 10 minutes. So I was like, okay, finally, ladies are getting their shine. They're doing this shit. Everybody looks good. There wasn't any botches. Nothing looked weird. it looked perfect. It was just a perfect mix of all four of them, and they gelled. And like I said, Notorious Mimi looked good. James looked good. So hopefully, they'll keep using Mimi more, going in the future, James more. But they need to start breaking that whole thing up. Like, bring somebody fresh. There's so many females out there. Bring somebody in, put somebody in the mix, get some different matches on. Because right now it's seeing females wrestling each other every show.
Yeah, and especially because there really isn't like a steady female feud right now. Basically, all the featherweight feuds are basically versus Salina, and then by proxy, and then like we want a title shot, but Janai Kai doesn't really interact with anybody. Like, she's off in La La Land, and so it's just Salina, who no one is like allowed to actually touch for whatever reason. It seems like. But yeah,
she's the princess, she's the boss. Hey, and nobody may be touching her. Don't mess with her.
Impresaria. But yeah, so moving on from that, next match is the National Openweight Championship match. The debuting Jake Christ taking on Ricky Shane Page with members of The Calling. What did you think, Muffins?
It was a good match. I was more surprised that it was a good match. I'm still trying to figure out how a debuting person gets a title match right on the first show. So I'm still kind of boggled about that one, but hey, it is what it is. Jake Christ looked good right from the beginning. Move after move after move after move after move. Like you mentioned, I didn't get enough time to kind of get out that first gear before Big Cannonball and Sammy Cannon came in, and then Akira came in, and then Raven. At least we finally get Raven back-to-back shows, so that's good. So at least he's committed to being there. They maybe get a little more money. Okay, we need you here. Like every show we need you. So he was there. So, but I don't know where the hell this thing is going. Like I don't know where this is going to. Like I don't understand. Now we have a match between Akira and Jake Christ against RSP and Cannonball.
And Callahan,
I'm sorry.
Sammy.
And I'm pretty sure we know where this is going to get. I mean, we don't have to be bookers to see where this is going, where maybe Jake Christ turns on Akira, because he is part of family with Callahan, for OVE, Ohio, what the hell,
Ohio versus everything for everyone.
So I mean, you can see the writing on the wall. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but you can see the ink already going that way. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Muffins and I talked about this match before we started recording, and I basically said this match was raw and needed some time to cook. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, in ring, there was nothing wrong with it. It just was too short before all the shenanigans cut it short. I will note that Jake Christ wrestled like a guy who was fighting for his job. Like he came in like a ball of fire, like he's a star, if you will, with all the high flying maneuvers, showing why like the last couple of years why he's been kind of like one of the more underrated wrestlers on the independent circuit, despite like having a career renaissance, despite being 20 years into the business. Like this is like year 21, like 19 or 21, I can't remember which.
And you interviewed him before a couple of months ago.
Friend of the show.
And he had mentioned that different eating habits, no more alcohol and stuff like that. So
he got clean. Like he it got heavy. I didn't expect any of that. Not gonna lie. Because I usually run a light and fluffy interview thing with no curveballs or anything, but yeah, we cover, like, I did want to cover the body transformation because that was a big deal too, but he got clean and sober over the post-pandemic, and then he ended up dropping like nearly let me head math a bit, like 40 to 60 pounds somewhere in there as well.
Really, that much?
Yeah, he said he weighed more than I did, or more than I do, because I still weigh the same. But the difference. I
didn't know that much.
Yeah, he was pushing like 240, and now he's down to like 180. So it's like 60 pounds. Like, yeah, so he's like, so he weighed as much as I did, except I have like 5 inches on it. So it looks...
Unfortunately, I wish I was 240. My God, I'll be happy right now if I was 240.
Yeah, my saving grace is that I'm like 5 inches taller than him. So like
So what? You're 5'8"?
Carry it better. Air
You're
quotes.
5'8", 5'9"?
I'm 6'3".
What?
I am 6'3". He's
5'8".
Yeah.
Dude, every time I see you, I could have swore you were like 5'9", 5'10".
Well, you never see me.
I didn't know you were 6'3".
You very rarely see me standing up.
Stand up,
to
yeah.
be fair.
You're actually taller than me because I'm 6 feet.
Yeah, and so so when I take some of those wrestler photos, like it's kind of weird because a lot of the indie guys are shorter than me.
Yes.
And though like I'll have to dig it. Like if I was smart and did like prep work for this stuff, like I'd show you a picture of me and Drago. I have a picture with Drago, and there is like
a big.
Oh, he only comes up to like my like close to my shoulders.
Dude, I didn't know you were 6'3". Look at that. Today I'm learning shit about my co-partner here for the last almost a year, and I'm learning that he's 6'3". Good
well,
Lord.
Again, in your defense, sidetrack everything. Yeah, you usually only see me via window where I'm sitting down, and there's not a good frame of reference of how how tall everything is in here.
Sitting down, we're the same height sitting down.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's the old wrestling adage: everybody's the same size lying down. But yeah, so sneaky big. So that's why you don't see too many pictures of me standing up.
Yeah, but I was going to say to our listeners, anybody who wants to listen to that interview with Jay Christ, you can listen to the MLB Confusion. Look it up there. It was a good, real interview, like you said, very personal there for a while.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, we got deep and deeper than I usually intend for my podcasts, but that was, I will say that was all him. Like I wanted to talk gym selfies, and he just threw it all out on the table for us.
And I'll be honest, and I'll probably get flack for this, but I do miss his brother though.
Yeah, well, you can appreciate. I'll put it like a lot of things that where people have done bad things.
Yeah,
you can appreciate the body of work and still condemn the person.
Yes.
Especially and like I'll throw Chris Benoit out there. Nobody wants to praise Chris Benoit now, but he's gone. He's not. Yes, he did bad things. But he's not hurting anyone anymore. We can appreciate the things he's done. If he came back from the dead, would I want to see him have another match? No. I would want him to go away.
Exactly.
But I am willing to watch things back then, and it doesn't. Well, okay. Sometimes it kind of gives me some cognitive dissonance because sometimes I'm like, oh, that was not like. Anytime I see him like take a headshot, or sometimes commentary, I'm like, oh no, that's a little too on the nose. So I mean, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of. I mean, again, now we're getting real. How I feel about some of the canceled wrestlers. Like, do I want to see them now? No, I don't want them to come back. But does that mean I'm not going to watch Pro Wrestling Guerrilla from 2016?
Yeah.
No. I still watch. Like, I'll out myself. I still watch Chikara, and turns out that was a festering cesspool behind the scenes. But for a while, it was some of the best independent wrestling in the United States at the time. But. Yeah. Anywho, we've gotten way off track, but yeah.
So what was the fourth match?
Count that. The next the match after Jake and RSP was Matthew Justice taking on Filthy Tom Lawler. So we got some WTF action finally, or well, I guess we did with Zeta too. But on the men's side, we have some WTF action where where Saint Laurent actually bothered to come out.
Yes.
And we have the never-ending feud between Second Gear Crew and the WTF as well.
Well, I was happy that the WTF finally won their match.
Yeah. This is a win streak. Up until this match, it was a win streak. It was two in a row because the one called Manders got his ass thoroughly handed to him by the baby bulldog.
Yes.
So at this point, again. Pretending Zeta isn't involved in WTF since Saint Laurent didn't come out with her. So actually there are three in a row for this. For this match.
Three in a row. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a winning streak right there, boy. Woo.
Yeah. And I thought the match was fun. It was a little bit. It was a bit of a throwback, which I'm glad because despite Salina's involvement, we didn't have someone really running interference proper in a match, like old school Memphis style. And so we finally got that level of shenanigans with Saint Laurent taking a hold of Justice a handful of times. And you know, it's like I have to be really grumpy to say anything negative about Filthy Tom Lawler, and I'm not really grumpy today. So, but I love Filthy Tom,
and I'm happy that he finally won a match.
Yeah,
and he finally won one.
Yeah, and this is something we've complained about ad nauseum, is that, you know, they have this great pedigree in terms of talent within WTF, and like we can poop on like how nobody likes Mr. Saint Laurent, you know, all day long, but the talent in WTF is top tier, given that they've had, you know, again saying it again with Matt Cardona, Tom Lawler, who's a former MLW champion. David Boy Smith Jr., who's an Opera Cup winner, well, two-time Opera Cup winner, the tag team champion, who's got a strong MLW pedigree, not counting his worldwide cred, etc. So like they're, you know, Richard Holiday, top, you know, former Caribbean and tag team champion in his own right.
Hammerstone for 1 month.
Yeah, we had Hammerstone in there. He was the world champion. So like they've had top tier talent in there. It was a shame that their win-loss record overall doesn't seem to take it. Which I will also note, and then when they do win, it seems to be matches that they don't really have any stakes to them either. So
now, are they getting a tag team match and intimidation games, right?
I believe so.
Now, do you think they'll finally win the tag team belts?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm more curious to see like which members of WTF take the match, because each time they've had dealt with second year crew, they've had a different combination with them.
Yeah, because I remember they had Bishop and Lawler.
Yeah, Bishop and Lawler.
This one was Holiday and David Boy Smith.
Yep. And so I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. But personally, for me, I
think it's time, to be honest with you. So
yeah, and I mean, especially since there isn't much of a tag team division right now, like we might as well hot potato the belts a little bit. Especially if they're really serious about looking at Cozy Max as a tag team, and then of course we have Wasted Youth sitting on their number one contendership. Like I feel there's probably more money on the table with the heels having the belt for those two matches. But personally, for me, like the biggest surprise of this match is evidently there are two one called Manders. Evidently there's a one called Manders and a two called Manders, because he was in Philadelphia and Bluegrass, Iowa last Saturday. And so now I am just going to have like all the major temper tantrums, because now there are just two Cowboy Menaces running around the United States. Like, I don't even know how to handle this situation, man.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you can be at two places at one time. So
evidently, he was defending his Iowa championship in SCW Pro, and then helping out his boy Matthew Justice in Philadelphia for Burning Crush.
See,
nothing is real anymore.
Yeah, and this is where I hate those taped shows come into play, when you see the wrestler. Well, hold on, how the hell are you here and you wrestling somewhere else at the same time? Something fishy going on here.
They're all Rick Rude.
Yes,
Rick Rude's also back from the dead for like a third time.
Yes. Hey, that's how it is. Hey.
That's where we go.
Yes.
Speaking of things are how we're doing and people coming back, somewhere in the process, I was going to bring it up after the Jake Christ, Ricky Shane Page match. Yeah. But I think this is where it came in. Otherwise, I don't know. I didn't write my notes in that kind of order. But Cesar Duran met with Court Bauer, and Cesar is once again the official matchmaker for MLW. And then they officially on screen properly acknowledged the return of Azteca Lucha, despite advertising the show for like the last 2 months. But yeah, and then to go along with it. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, and then they also further announced that he's bringing in 3 luchadores for this as well. Mystico is making his return, which I mean we kind of knew that because he is taking on Rocky Romero for the middleweight championship. Yeah. They're bringing in Atlantis, but I'm not sure if they're bringing in father or son. They just said Atlantis.
I think the father's already retired, so I'm hoping it's the son.
That's my assumption, because like I mean it's cool to see the legends, but if you're gonna hype someone up for a match, I also want someone who can go.
Well, I don't want to see his father who's in the mid-60s do any flying around. So I'm praying to God that is the son.
And again, if I was planning, I don't have it in arm's reach. I should have like broke out my Atlantis match because mask, because that was my lucha mask du jour of 2023. Oh. But we've talked about enough about me this here night. And then last but not least, and I always butcher the name, and I didn't write it out full hand. Barbaro Cavanario.
Yes,
I butcher it to begin with if I don't write it out full, and I didn't write it out full. I just wrote Cavanario, and he is making his return for MLW, which I'm interested because he was originally part of Salina's crew.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, well,
and now I guess when he talks, now he's part of El Jefe's troop of folks.
And it's funny how Kurt Bauer and him became to the agreement was because of, are you going to bring Mystico? He goes, yes. Okay, then you could be the matchmaker going forward. You know, all by just a name drop, he became the matchmaker back for MLW. But yes, I love what they're doing with CMLL. I mean, CMLL looks like it's like I was saying this on Twitter, must be the flavor of the month because every company now is using CMLL going forward. Now, my thing is this too. I'm all for bringing on those guys. I'm bringing them all. But what happened? Where the females at? That's what I want to know. Start bringing some damn females up here and have them go against your roster, especially against Janai Kai. If bring Stephanie back her, bring Catalina. Some of these females that are busting their asses over there, bring them over here. It's only fair. We only seeing guys and guys and guys. So we start bringing some females in, man. That's what I want to see.
Right. But I'm curious to see how going the full lucha goes. I know it does seem to be reading things online. It does seem to be kind of a mixed bag on things because people are like, yes, we need more lucha in America, which I agree. We always need more lucha in America. But other people are like, especially with Cesar Duran being the former Dario Cueto, they definitely tend to look at things as a third-rate lucha underground, which we'll see how the thing branded as Teca Lucha is, but like, it's like you bring in Cesar Duran, who the only thing he's done wrestling is basically be this kind of character in Lucha Underground and now MLW, and people are going to make that association whether they try to move away from that or not.
Well, and they're not wrong. It is, Cesar Duran, the Ricardo, and people forget that this guy is not a wrestling guy. This guy is an actual actor that they brought in for doing Lucha Underground. Then, when they used to have the El Rey channel, and once that folded up, he came over to MLW as Dario Cueto or Cesar Duran, and then for a while MLW was a lot of lucha, and that's what kept them going for a while before COVID hit, and then before everything started changing, and then for a year or maybe almost over a year, you never saw not one Mexican wrestler in any other shows. And they were heavy there for a while. So I'm glad they're going back to that, was making them separate from everybody else. But of course, you have your guy Tony Khan with the big money. Mm-hmm. He wants to get anybody before anybody else gets them. So MLW mentioned this guys first, and then 2 weeks before their big show, you see them wrestling and having a big feud with AEW guys, the BBC. And now you're going to have those guys go there to Mexico in March to have a big brawl between the BBC and the original guys from CMLL. And we still can't get that one wrestler from MLW to go there, except for Rocky. And he's always there anyways.
Yeah. So. I will say, like, the perk of this, though, is that if you didn't know who these guys were before and you don't follow MLW that much, I do feel like there is a good chance that, yes, Tony may have stolen, those luchadores from CMLL, but obviously AEW is a larger product, a more popular product, and there is an opportunity for MLW indirectly then to leech off of that, because like, hey, we're also bringing these guys in too. Like, sure, we could try to argue about who brought them in first, but hey, the important thing is we have them now. So check out Intimidation Games, check out Azteca Lucha, check out insert, whatever show here that we are going to feature these luchadores on, especially like when we are bringing in like some of the top tiers like Amistico, who's still got, who's done magic to rehabilitate his image post WWE, and then his AAA career to go along with that.
Mexico is like one of the biggest stars in Mexico, when he was there, and then before he left, it became Sin Cara, and then he came back, and then he couldn't use the name because somebody else had it. And then when that person left, he came back and got the mantle back. So now it's his again. And I'm pretty sure he will never leave there again for the next 20 years. So enjoy him now where he can still do those moves in his mid 30s. And I'm going to enjoy the match. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm hoping that he wins the title and takes it back to CMLL.
Yeah, I have no qualms with that. Though I'm still like kind of upset that Ichiban didn't get the middleweight championship, because I thought that was the logical progression of that storyline. But what do I know? I am just a neckbeard on the internet. I am not a professional booker, nor am I part of anybody's creative department. The closest thing I am is people stealing my ideas when I say them out loud. But yeah, so again, lucha, like I am a big fan of lucha, and I am like whatever form it takes. I am very happy it's coming to MLW. That's my final statement.
Should we connect this to them talking when Cesar came out and then Salina came out?
Yeah. And to go, I kind of like lumped everything kind of like together with it. But he had another confrontation with Salina de la Renta.
This was going crazy. This was like about to go crazy there with all the words they were calling me. I said, "Oh, hold up, somebody about to get stabbed." About to get stabbed.
Oh, and they're making all sorts of like rando threats as well. Like, oh, I have footage of him crying like a baby. And then he's like, well, yeah, you had your brutes beating me. It wasn't because of you.
Yeah. There's no such thing. There's no video. There's no video.
Yeah, right.
I was waiting for a video to pop up at the screen there for a minute.
Yeah, if you're gonna make those threats, don't be holding out on us.
Yeah,
the one thing I really got out of, like, I was curious about, like, out of all of that, is that at one point he walks up to Salina and whispers into her ear, and she knocks him the F down. And I'm curious to hear what he said to her. Whether it was, something that is going to play out in a storyline, or if he did just finally crossed a line verbally. I'm hoping though it's a storyline threat of like some sort of like blackmail-esque kind of thing. Yes. Like, I know you did X, Y, and Z. But then either way, she got drug away by.
She made the match official for Rocky Romero for his belt. So
yeah.
So that should be interesting. And he looked kind of surprised, shocked, and pissed at the same time.
Yeah, but he was definitely glad he got under her skin in the process. So
yes,
it was a mixture of all the emotions.
Down, so yeah, she got her revenge back a little bit there, and I'm pretty sure at the end they might come together as one and try to take over something. Just because I think they begin to figure out. Well, I put you in jail for like 2 years. You got me back for a year. We're both maniacal in our minds. I think we should put our brain powers together and take over everything. So that's what I'm still hoping happens.
Well, again, we'll kind of see, because again, we have this Azteca Lucha branding going on. So whether this once again is just going to be like a one-off, or if this is something that's going to go on again, because I mean, originally that was the point of Azteca Lucha, was going to be its own separate brand, and then the pandemic stuff hit, and they couldn't follow through on it. So
what I want is, I'm petitioning this day for May, whenever the May show is, that you get a title match on somebody's belt. I don't care who, but
I'm just gonna settle for being roving reporter Rob Kammer, and then if I have to do a sneaky pin on Manders if he still has the belt, I'll just hit him with a quick roll up because as long as it's on MLW ground, it counts for his title, right? That's
yes,
24/7 rule.
Yes.
Or my joke that I can go for the open weight championship because I am an open weight.
I'm gonna start doing the hashtag Rob Kammerer title shot.
Long nonsensical hashtag.
Yeah, hashtags. Right, Kammerer deserves a shot. I'm gonna get a following, man. I'm telling you, Rob Kammerer deserves a shot.
I tried to get me an Iowa championship this weekend, but security stopped me, and by security, of course, I mean my wife.
Good for her.
Which I don't know why, because she also says that when I win a title, she's going to invoke the 24/7 rule and pin me. So
yeah, I'm kind of surprised you did stop you then. Yeah, that makes no sense unless she wants to win it first.
I don't think she wants the Iowa championship. I think she thinks it's the Corn Boys title, and it kind of is. But Manders is just keeping it warm until it comes home.
All right.
But anyway, enough rattling on about that. So we got through our lucha spectacular stage rant. The next match, also a cluster in more ways than one, was the Lumberjack and Jill match. Love Doug getting a rematch against Brett Ryan Goslin, the notorious BRG.
I loved it. I love anything that Love Doug is in. I was very skeptical when he came in for the first time. Like, who is this guy? Like, why is this guy wearing feathers to the ring? And then he just, over time, he won me over. And I love anything that he's in because he's very entertaining and he gets his job. He knows and he understands what he needs to do. And I love this match of the Jack and Jill thing, having everybody beating everybody up. So yeah. I'm glad he got the win. He got the win, right?
No,
he didn't get. Oh, that's right. He lost.
Yes. Zeta.
I was surprised about this.
Offered a distraction, and then he got the rope kick low blow, and then BRG stole Zeta's finish.
Yes.
The I'm Prettier, the Tomikaze, or for you plebes out there, the Unprettier, to get the victory.
Yeah, that's right, because last month we had that stupid Love Blind match.
Blindfold match, which I thought was more, which I actually thought was more entertaining.
Really?
It wasn't a better match, but it was more entertaining because blindfold matches are never good. But once again, both those gentlemen understood the assignments.
Yeah,
and did what they needed to.
Well,
this was a more straightforward match.
Yeah, I love this match better. That they actually got to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, it was a better match. I was just better entertained by the Lovish blindfold match.
Yeah, he did win. Yeah, so now they're even one-on-one, so we get to see. Hopefully, one day, Love Doug will bring somebody out with him.
I'm curious to see, again, if we're going to talk about this being in threes and being a series, and now that we're tied 1-on-1, what gimmick is match 3 going to have? Because each match so far between the two of them has had a gimmick. Are we going to get like a mixed tag? Is he going to get himself a girlfriend and going to have something to counteract Zeta?
That'd be cool, man. I would love to see that.
Oh, I think that would be fitting. What
type of match they'll call it? Like what?
I don't know. Like,
you gotta go with some weird.
I have to come up with some puns after we're off the air.
Yeah,
and
I'll be interested whenever this happens. If it does happen, 1-on-1, and they'll come with some weird name, and then they'll do like a mixed tag team, and maybe he'll bring the new girlfriend from Japan.
Oh yeah,
he paid. That he wanted the date, and we still haven't seen the video from the date. So. MLW dropped the ball on this. They had a date. It should have been taped, and it should have
gotten a cheesesteak.
All the match or the show, little bits and pieces here and there. I would have loved that. So.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I don't think MLW does. Another sidebar is that they don't do a whole lot of like, we'll call it on location shtick. Like it is all, and I know you could try to argue like, oh, this is a sports base. They try to do the sports based stuff, but if we're gonna have like WTF, like I feel like we should have some like the old school 80s, like again having folks out of date. We should have gotten to see BRG and Zeta go shopping.
Yes,
like I actually think, and if you play that right, it could also help properly explain why they are now managing each other or coming to the ring
that
with each other.
That would have made sense right there.
Yeah,
Yes,
you know, instead of just doing backstage, instead of just doing like straight up backstage stuff, like go out and just film. Like, and that's the beauty of this day and age too, is you don't even need like a full on camera crew. You can
cut a phone,
and you don't even have to bring a cameraman. Just have Zeta with her phone and be like, "Oh my God, look what we found, besties," you know, and Brett, hey, look at blah blah blah, you know.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for saying that, because this is the age of the cell phone. You have the camera right there. You don't need a camera crew that you have to pay per hour. You have your camera right there. You're on the phone 24/7 doing stupid shit anyways. And that would have been fun. Like right there, I agree with you 100%. But the date, they could have done the date and put some cheesy 80s love music on the background. You know.
There you go. Yeah.
Don't you forget about me, you know, some shit like that. That would have been awesome. But you know, like you said, they don't do stuff like that. But you got your phone, man. So half of these people, you know, they're always tweeting or doing live feeding, live whatever they call it nowadays, for like 2 seconds, a minute, saying something. They could have done that, bro. Exactly. Dude, like you use social media to its advantage. You would have killed so many stones right there. It would have been awesome.
The blessing and the curse of the age we live in professional wrestling, where we have access to everything 24/7.
Yeah, we're just fans. We don't know anything. So.
Yeah, nope. But yeah, so yeah, the lumberjack match is everything you'd want in a lumberjack and Jill match. You got the classic of the faces just tossing the bad guys in the ring, making sure they don't leave. The heels are beating up the faces. Love Doug fell victim to a Zeta distraction and all sort of good stuff for that. So this feud is not over yet either. Probably going to get a match 3 out of the deal. We shall see. Speaking of things,
if it happens, I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
Next match is our tag team spectacular, the debut of Cozy Max taking on the WTF faction. In this form, it's Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Richard Holiday. And I was kind of surprised how long this match didn't go. I mean, it went long enough, but just considering the players involved, I kind of expected a little bit more out of it. But it was a fine match. No complaints. And of course, like I'm happy as long as I get to see Richard Holiday, who is going to be winning the New South Haas tournament. And anytime I get to see Satoshi Kojima in the ring, I am thoroughly content as well.
2 things I didn't like about the match. 1, WTF lost again. And 2, Holiday got the pin. Like, dude, like really? Holiday?
Yeah, he's been getting the raw deal since he came back. Like I feel bad for him. Like I hope they're paying him well, because he's been
like, dude, like really Holiday?
He's been almost a non-entity to begin with. Like he hasn't made too many backstage appearances when really his biggest strong suit is his character work. So like I'm surprised that he hasn't been given the mic more.
Well, one thing I heard, he has all the agility, the charisma, the body, the face, but people have mentioned that I've seen no thing that he's boring.
I mean, I could see the argument in the ring he's boring, but like again, there's folks who he's got the personality outside of the ring to help overcome that. I think he's got a mouth to sell it.
When he did all the coffee stuff, with the Wall Street Journal things that he did.
Well, and I'll throw out another guy. Like he reminds me of The Miz. Like The Miz is like, I don't want to throw shade at him, but he is not a good wrestler.
What?
He's passable. Like he is passable. Like he's all right in the ring. He's going to give you a solid match, but he's not going. But his real strength is all the stuff he's going to do surrounding the match. He's going to give it. He's going to give it 100%, no matter what it is. But his real strength is his mouth and his mind to heat up the match before it happens. That's his real strength. And so by that point, you don't care that he's not a great worker. You're all hyped up because you want him to get his ass kicked. And I feel the same way about Richard Holiday, is that his real strength is his character work. And so you need to get him a microphone. You need to get him vignettes. And if you don't do that, he can come off as pretty bland, I think. And like for those of you like who don't follow him on social media, like he had a really good filmed series of vignettes involve him going to therapy.
Yes.
And so like those were effing great.
Yes.
You know, so the dude has a talent to create. And in this case, like since they brought him back to MLW, they've not utilized it effectively. He's been like even when he came back, his first appearance back, he didn't say one word. Like he just held up a hat, which yes, it got a lot of heat that he held up. You know, he joined WTF, but like again, the man's real skill is his character work, and we're not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a chance to follow him on social media, like Cameron said, you know, that whole piece, seeing the therapist, that was gold. That shit was like perfectly done. I love that whole thing that he did, and I love Holiday.
I do too. He's a guy they really should like, especially they should have been building around him, especially when they were starting to lose people. Yes, they lost him for a bit for whatever reason, but there's no reason why they can't be doing something around him, or at least again giving him the microphone like that. Again, that if Alex Kane, which don't get me wrong, we both love Alex Kane, but if Alex Kane can call someone a hoe every week, Richard Holiday can say the phrase "rarefied air." Yeah, like if you can make time for Alex Kane promos, you can make time for Richard Holiday. And I don't mean this to throw shade at Alex Kane, so don't mistake the statement as such. But for the people, I hope he takes down Francis. But that's the first part of that's the first part of the show. If you missed that, so I hope you haven't missed it. Why are you watching YouTube videos in the middle? But yeah, so tag team match was inoffensive overall, outside of WTF losing again. So their win streak is now back to 0. I mean, I see why they would. I mean, I can see storyline wise why they should lose, because they're like MLW is really hyping up this Cozy Max team. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Satoshi Kojima. I will watch it, and I'll be happy to see him. But like, I don't like world champions going for other belts. I think they should focus on, you know, the world championship, which is supposed to be the most important belt in the company, and now they're going after other titles. And what happens if they lose? Like that makes you look bad.
Guys over 50.
Oh yeah, they're both. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like they both can still go, but you know.
So what's the point?
Yeah, I really don't. I really don't know that. And I say this as a Kojima fan. Like I would keep him singles, and because when Cozy Max lose, like what does that do to the MLW championship? Especially, I mean, granted they'll probably have Okamura take the fall instead of Kojima, but still, like it's not a great. It's still a loss in the win-loss column, and I don't think that's a great look for your champion if they're taking losses.
Anyways, let's just jump into the main event.
Fakplay Brawl. Jacob Fatu versus Mads Kruger. They're starting to fit the Cruel name in there now, so we'll see if he gets to stay, if he'll become just Cruel like he is on the Indies, or they'll try to make us say the mouthful that is Mads Cruel Kruger.
Sure, yeah. Oh, awesome match. I loved it. There was violence everywhere. We knew Fatu was going to lose this match because he already had mentioned that his contract was up with MLW, so this was going to be like, okay, we're going to do this match, you know, close the chapter on me, whatever. Awesome match. A lot of shit was going on. I actually thought for a minute Fatu was going to win because he was hitting pretty much every damn flying maneuver that he could think of, and he was still not able to pin Cruel. And the biggest surprise that I saw, and I'm still shocked every time I see it, was the fireball there at the end. Holy shit, that came out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming. And poof. And that was how he got him. I was like, wow. Like, that, I mean, like, wow. Like, they saved that for the last thing. And Crew pinned him. And then to add insult to injury and close the chapter on Fatu, he brought the Death Squad out. They put him in a body bag. he whispers something in his ear or whatever. This is the last chapter. Thank you so much for what you did to us. Blah 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 blah. And he got carried out of the ring gracefully. Like, okay, did we put a nail on the chapter? He's done. But like the whole thing, the whole match itself, and the fireball there at the end, holy crap, dude! Like that caught me out of surprise. I'm like, what?
They really put over Kruger as a monster because he won. Like, outside of like one big flurry of offense for the most part, like it was almost a squash. Like, overall, Fatu did not get that much offense in, and when he did get offense in, it really overall wasn't effective. Like he Cruel took all of the big moves.
And one more thing, I was surprised it was a clean pin. Like, nobody came out to help Cruel. So.
Which, I mean, is the best decision, to be realistic about it, especially if Fatu is leaving and this is going to be the last time we see him for the foreseeable future. We definitely needed a clean. Yeah. If you weren't going to let Fatu get the win on the way out, then he needed to go. He needed to lose clean just to help put over. We'll call it, for better or for worse, we'll call it his replacement. We're not filling that shoes, but but that's what you really should do. If someone's leaving the company, you got to build someone up to kind of replace them on the card. There you go. And they put over Cruel as a monster because nothing kept him down. And then I thought it was very apropos, which it took me some time to really think about it, but I thought it was very apropos that basically the fireball was part of Fatu's downfall, because that was a classic Josef Samael maneuver, and Samael and Fatu, are tight. War Beast is a thing outside of MLW, and then of course the original incarnation of Contra was primarily Fatu and Josef Samael, and they had Gotch come in for 10 minutes, and and all the other folk that they've had, but like but for the most part it was Fatu. The main guys in the promos were Fatu and Josef Samael, and Samael is known for two things: fireball and the spike.
Yes.
And so if we weren't gonna have blood for this match, we didn't need to have the spike. But I thought it was apropos that the fireball was the thing to take Fatu out. And then just the imagery of him getting body bagged as well was like, it was like I on one hand it makes me sad that that's how we're seeing Fatu leave, so he's not going to get any metaphorical flowers for it. However, again, it put Kruger over huge. And so one of the things I posed to you, as we start winding this thing down, what's next for Contra?
Well, they definitely need to start bringing some, new members or old members, whatever they're going to do. Because, I mean, you can be having it just Crew by himself with 27 different, guys in helmets. That's going to be crazy. So hopefully they'll start doing something with him, and slowly we'll start getting away from the Japanese fandom that MLW has now, where maybe during the summer, Cruel will get a title match and become the MLW champion for a while, because that's got to be the ultimate goal, is him being the champion to control MLW, because that's how Jacob Fatu had it for 2 years. So
but I'm just curious, especially with how they put Cruel over. Like, don't get me wrong, like a guy that size, like, he needs to be a threat, which he wasn't in his original run. Like, you could say all you want, like, oh, blah blah blah. Like, really, he didn't win matches. He tended to get bodied an awful lot, both in the Kruger, both as Mads Kruger, and then in my conspiracy board theory of Grogan / Logan Kane. Like, it's like they didn't know what to do with him, like being like the only 6'10" guy on the roster, and he's over there taking L's, like clean L's, and it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm curious to see what this means as for the Contra unit. Like, honestly, like I would almost like for them just to bury the Contra name and let Cruel just be Cruel. Kruger v. Kruger.
He's been carrying the name and the flag in the Indies for the last 2 years. So
right, but then that begs the follow-up question though: is Contra going to actually be going to have named people in it? Or are they going to be like the Calling was originally, and it was just a bunch of like nameless schools running around in gas mask, which
it has to be. You at least have to bring at least one or two of the old members, that were actually doing something, and then bring some new fresh faces that he's been using in the Indies down in Southern. God, I forgot the name of Southern Honor Wrestling, where he's been keeping the contract in the name alive for the last 2 years. I would love to see that, but I don't know. People like too many new faces. Then I don't know who that is. Type of shit. But I love when you see new faces because it gives you fresh feuds, fresh matches. Okay, well this guy is new. This is going to be different. So
and
it'd be a mix of both.
And personally, I am more of the idea that I think Kruger should go alone, only for the fact, I'm not one of those people who said, "Oh, there's too many stables," but there's too many stables that seem to have MLW takeover in mind. Yeah. They aren't just like the Four Horsemen, where we're like, "Oh, we're just the best." They're all like the N.W.A, who the end goal is the destruction of the company they're working for. And there's officially speaking, two factions that are running that right now in the form of WTF and Promociones Dorada. We'll see what's going on with Azteca Lucha, but El Jefe at one point was attempting to stage a hostile takeover of the MLW as well, and then obviously Contra took over MLW for like 6 months. Yes. Actually took over MLW, and we were just stuck with the anthology series and whatnot as Contra controlled MLW Tower in New York. So I just feel like right now one, there's not enough babyface stables to kind of counteract things. Two, right now almost all the heel stables outside of the Calling are really just trying to, and whatever Deppin's group you want to call them, everybody else is seems to are bent on the destruction of MLW, and I feel like that gimmick is played out. And
you said something right now. Who is the baby face of the company? Who's the main baby face of MLW right now?
I mean, we could still try to, and that's a valid point. We could try to argue Alex Kane is. We could try at a certain level, we would have to argue that Satoshi Kojima is, just because he's the world champion, and really and even if we want to play stickler with it, how much of a babyface is Alex Kane? Even when he was even as he's getting over as a face, he's still very much a heel. He cut promos like a heel.
So that's why it popped in my head Hammerstone was gone. He was the big main guy there.
They made him like Hulk Hogan for a while. I don't know what's going on with Good Brother number 3 / Mance Warner. He may be gone again. I don't know. We haven't seen either one of those identities with the Second Gear crew in a bit. Then they are kind of lacking on the babyface side as well. So, I mean, and even if with Cesar Duran, him working babyface right now with the Luchadores, we're not seeing a consistent base of luchadores to really say that is our guy. That is there's no babyface that we're building the company around. Exactly. And I know some companies, yes, are heel territories. Like the N.W.A was famously a heel territory, but they also had a handful of strong baby faces who could come in and knock the primarily Ric Flair, knock him down a peg or two. They push. Luger was chasing for a bit. Sting was chasing for a bit. You always had Dusty Rhodes doing whatever Dusty Rhodes wanted to do. They were working on Magnum TA before his tragic accident. They had guys that were ready to go. You could plug into the main event spot.
Also, when he turned face.
Even if we're going to be heel heavy, you got to have, you have to have a strong opposition for it, regardless of what side overall. And actually that's a very good point that I haven't truly thought of in a bit, is there really isn't a strong.
It just popped in my head when you were doing your thing. I mean, hold up, are there any baby face guys? Because I don't remember not one strong guy by himself who's baby face there in the company. The last one was Hammerstone.
Yeah,
and
like
he's gone. So I'm
yeah,
like, wait, hold up, who was behind him? I'm like, I don't know who the hell it was.
Yeah, as I said, especially with Kane wandering in like tweener territory. Like,
Yes.
yes, they built a lot around him, but like he's always kind of had. He's always. I won't call him necessarily like a Steve Austin, but he's always had an edge to him where he like we cheered him, but he was still kind of a dickbag.
And he's still being a heel.
Right. Yeah, it's just that he kind of cleaned up his act a little bit. But he's like his promos never really changed. He just stopped overtly cheating outside of having Mr. Thomas interfere occasionally. But you point out there's really no strong real strong baby faces that we say like that's going to be a guy that's going to mount like opposition to whatever's going on. Because again, like we have Satoshi Kojima, but like I don't know what they're I'm not sure what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him, especially now that he's with Cozy Max. And I don't know how long he's going to come in for them. And even then, like no offense intended, but like if you're going to build around him, we're going to have to figure out some way to like make promos a bit better, so we're not just relying on the feel good I love bread, which I love, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't but just because I'm entertained in the moment doesn't necessarily mean that's a good direction for the company. I will note that I am not very good at EWR and TEW, the wrestling sim games.
I also love bread, so
but again they are definitely kind of lacking strong baby faces. And so I'm very much curious, like now that you mentioned it, I'm curious to see like we'll say who's the number one baby face contender for the title like when Kojima drops it, whether he drops it to Suzuki, which I don't think that's happening, but I don't know. I definitely don't see this being a long-term title run. Deep thought questions. So hey, who do you guys think should take over the babyface side in MLW? Hit us up in the comment section below. Of course, hit like, subscribe. If there's anything else you need to complain about hit up some of the comment section too. I'll gladly rattle on incoherently forever. Hit us up on the other social medias if you so desire. I'm at the Nova of Cast, like on the screen, and down at the bottom in the scrolling, we got Urban Wrestling NW. We're all over the place. We're on Instagram. We're on the Twitter. I'm on Blue Side for some odd reason. I'm on TikTok as well. It's crazy go nuts. But hit us up on there. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that sort of fun stuff. Let us know what we did right. Let us know what we did wrong. Give us good booking ideas for when we form our own stable and launch a hostile takeover of MLW starting this May, brother Jack Dude. All that sort of thing. So in the meanwhile, I'm Rob Kammer, host of the MLW Confusion Podcast. Of course, Muffins Martinez, the real host with the most, as I figure out which direction I'm supposed to be pointing with the screens. Either way, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you all probably in 2 weeks.
Yes. Deuces!